Hi, everybody. I'm Maria Goodman, a licensed midwife, queer mama, and the founder of PregnantTogether, which is an awesome membership community for pregnant people. On this YouTube channel, I provide you with the information you need to thrive during your pregnancy. Today, I'll be talking about the age-old question. What's the difference between a midwife and a doula? I get asked this question all the time. If you're a birth worker, I'm sure you do too. Or maybe you've been wondering the answer to this question for a while. Either way, I hope that this video either helps you get that question answered or can be a resource that you share with people who ask you this question in the future. All right, so the basic answer to this question is that doulas are support people and midwives are trained medical professionals. Both doulas and midwives can be essential parts of your birth team, but our training is completely different. Doulas are support people. So they specialize in providing emotional, physical, and informational support to birthing people, as well as advocacy. So they help folks get treated the ways that they want to be treated, particularly in hospital birth settings. Doulas are sometimes referred to as birth coaches. They support you through contractions, rub your back, get you food and water, and if you're birthing in the hospital, help advocate for you and your birth plan among the doctors, nurses, and the midwives on staff during your birth. Midwives, on the other hand, are trained medical professionals. I personally am a licensed midwife in the state of California, and that means I'm licensed by the California Medical Board. Other midwives are called certified nurse midwives and are licensed by the Board of Registered Nurses. You can check out the other video that I made that talks about the different paths to midwifery in the United States here. Some people say that doulas support birthing people from the waist up and midwives support birthing people from the waist down. And while this is super simplified and not totally accurate, it can help folks understand our different roles. As a midwife, I'm responsible for making sure that the birthing person and their baby remain low risk and safe for out-of-hospital birth. I support the birth of the baby and the placenta. I'll suture if there's any tearing. And I'm licensed to care for the newborn and the birthing person in the first 6 weeks postpartum. So to explain this in a visual, this is an example of something that a doula would do. And this is an example of something that a midwife would do. Midwives do also sometimes provide labor support, but it is not in the scope of practice for a doula to provide any medical care. Another question people often ask me is if you can have both a midwife and a doula at your birth. The answer to this question is yes. I think it's absolutely essential to have a doula, especially if you're planning a hospital birth with your first baby. It makes such a difference to have somebody who knows you, knows your birth plan, and can support you to actualize it. They are somebody that you know and trust, and that can make a big difference, especially when the rest of your birth team will likely be people you've never met before. A lot of cities these days offer programs that can connect people with low fee or even free doulas. So it's worth doing a Google search where you live to see if you can find doula services that make sense for you and your family. Birthing people at home or in birth centers can absolutely have doulas as well. It's super helpful, especially for someone having a long labor like I did, to have somebody there who can support you through the hard work of giving birth. That said, doulas in the context of home or birth center birth will likely be more focused on the physical and emotional support side of things, since the role of advocacy isn't quite as relevant when you have a midwife offering individualized and continuous care. But the physical and emotional labor support is so important no matter where you are giving birth. Doulas support partners of birthing people as well, and that can make a big difference to everybody involved. Sometimes people think, oh, I don't need a doula because I have my partner. But most likely your partner has never been to a birth before, and doulas can be really supportive in helping them know how to support you and supporting you as a family as a whole. Birthing people have had doulas at their births forever. Historically, doulas were a family member or a friend, somebody who maybe had given birth themselves or were just a trusted person to help support the birthing person or the birthing woman through labor. You don't necessarily need special training to become a doula, although there are some awesome programs out there. One of them that I recommend is Cornerstone Doula Trainings, and you can check them out at the link in the description below. The moral of the story is this: doulas are awesome, and midwives are also awesome. I highly recommend looking into having both a midwife and a doula for your birth if it's something that is possible, and definitely looking into creative solutions for figuring that out. So now that we've talked about the difference between a midwife and a doula, you may be wondering how people become midwives. Head to this video to learn about how I trained to become a midwife and the other paths that people in the US take to become midwives.